Today, we're going to be giving some love to all the tank enjoyers out there and going through my complete guide to SION. And in my opinion, SION is the strongest tank in the game at the moment, not just in Worlds, but in solo queue as well. Not only does he have a very powerful lane phase, but he's one of the only tanks that can actually win the game through side lane. So if you're playing in lower elo brackets and you're worried about being very team reliant, SION's got you covered. You can win lane, win through side. You're of course really powerful in team fights as well. And that blind pick power, if you hate playing up against ranged top laners, SION is going to be the ultimate fix for you. Starting things off with the rune pages, and SION has three very strong pages to choose from, starting with his grass page, and this is going to be your standard that you take into most melees and most tank tops. This is going to really synergize with your trade patterns, and SION uses pretty much every single rune in the resolve tree very well, so that actually can make it a little bit tricky to decide which one to go, so I'm going to do my best to explain it. Now, on the top row, Shield Bash or Demolish. Both of these runes are extremely good on SION, and the way I'd want you to decide, if you're in a volatile matchup, especially a losing one, like an Aatrox, like a Gwen, these matchups can be quite tricky and they're very trade heavy. Shield Bash is your go-to. Really good, gonna help you edge out those short trades, but Demolish is really good in matchups that you feel quite confident in, or just free ones. Matchups like Poppy, matchups like Ornn, I'll be running Demolish every time, feel very confident, or just matchups that might be volatile on paper, but you have a lot of confidence. So an example would be Camille. Camille, Shield Bash is gonna be good into her. Of course, it is a volatile lane, but if you just feel like you smash Camille every time, you're not that worried about it, you can run Demolish and it's probably gonna outscale Shield Bash quite heavily. And if you're winning lane anyway, you're really going to feel the benefits of Demolish. You just get so much HP on this champion. You're pretty much going to be half HPing a tower in one swing later on. Now, second on this row is going to be quite difficult, but I'll just default to Second Wind if you're ever unsure. Even though Second Wind did get nerfed, it's still extremely powerful and you're really going to feel when you don't have it. So if you're ever in a matchup that has short trading power, definitely take Second Wind. Bone plating can be used into Jax and to Set, but in my opinion, I prefer Second Wind even in those matchups on SION. It just feels a lot better. Having that extra sustain allows you to play more aggressive instead of playing around the bone plating cooldown. SION, you mainly want to play around your own spell cooldown. You don't really want to be waiting that whole duration for bone plating. So Second Wind feels better into them, but it is an option, especially if you want to play a little bit aggressive early game. Now, the final one, Conditioning. I'm not a big fan of this personally. I would only take this in free matchups. So if you always beat Ornn, Poppy, stuff like that, feel free to go in. But lane phase is just so important in Modern League. It's just so crucial. So I'd go Second Wind most of the time. But again, if you're super confident, if you feel like you can get away with the scaling, go Conditioning. But just remember, the best scaling in top lane is winning your matchup, so default to Second Wind if you ever have any doubt. Now down below, Overgrowth or Unflinching. So pretty similar reasoning. Second Wind more powerful than Unflinching, of course, but similar reasoning. Overgrowth if you're confident, I take this most of the time. Unflinching is only for matchups that have perma CC onto, and you feel like you really need that difference. So Cassandra is a good example. You're pretty much going to be slowed every 2 seconds, stunned for half the game, so Unflinching feels really good into matchups like that. But if not, Overgrowth, really good on this champion. Now, for the secondary range, you will always go Inspiration on SION. After the cookie nerf, there's more priority for Cashback. So Cashback does feel quite good. Tier 1 Magical Footwear does feel good as well. But if you're gonna take a scaling rune, I'd rather you just go Cashback anyway and scale. If you're gonna take free boots, I'd kind of rather cookies in that angle, because free boots, sure, you save 300 gold, you get a bit of extra crumb of movement speed. But Cashback, of course, you're getting your second item, your third item, you get so much gold back later on. You definitely feel this one a lot more. So if you're gonna take a scaling rune, go with Cashback. Cookies is still good even after the nerf. Everyone likes to panic after a nerf, but you only lose about 40 HP from it, maybe a bit less, you know, from the 3 cookies total. It really depends on the lane, of course. Not the biggest deal, so I'd still go cookies in volatile matchups, especially early game ones, like a Jax or something like that. We're going to be trading quite heavily. Cookies, you really are going to miss them if you don't have them. Even after the nerf, still good in volatile lanes. But Cashback will be taken as your default, to be honest. There's not many matchups where you absolutely need cookies. And then down below, go Approach Velocity. You can go, and some signs do like Cosmic Insight, but Approach Velocity is just so good for your trade patterns, because SION is not really a champion where you brute force onto people. You have to be a little bit elegant and abuse the CC from your E, from your Q, and space people. If you think about it, all 3 of SION's abilities have range, your E, W, and your Q, and you have 2 forms of CC, the Q and E, so you can abuse Approach Velocity very, very well. And a really common trade pattern, hit somebody with the E from 2 screens away, boost at them with your Approach Velocity, and they get a fully charged Q. That's a lot harder without Approach. It's still possible, it's still doable, and lower cooldown on TP does feel quite good as well. I am a Cosmic Insight lover, but not having Approach Velocity on this champion, you feel it way too much, so I would recommend that. And then for the rune charge, you go Attack Speed. It really helps with CSing under tower, and SION actually auto attacks quite a lot in this trade, especially in melee matchups, so Attack Speed's quite good. Adaptive, you can go double HP. I'm not a big fan. Again, SION is a lane bully in my opinion, especially after first recall in a lot of matchups. So you want to be playing quite aggressive. And then down below, scaling or flat HP. You probably go scaling most of the time, but flat HP, of course, in these volatile ones, we want to play quite aggressive early game. Now, our second rune page, we have Arcane Comet, and this is amazing into range top laners. If you verse champs like Ryze or Aurora, Jace, and you take Comet, you can really poke them out without taking damage yourself with just E spam. Now, some styles like to max E with Comet. That is optional, and we'll talk a little bit later in the item section about the AP max build. So you've got that to look forward to, but you can't just go Comet. It is normally max Q. That's fine. Really, really good for lane. So into range tops like Teemo, like Jace, ones with no sustain, Comet's amazing. It's not as good into sustain range tops like a Vladimir, something like that. It's kind of optional against them, but any range top or any squishy top even, it can be very, very good. But into a merely squishy like Gangplank, I'd still go Grasp. You're definitely going to want to be able to auto-attack them. Of course, Comet into Jace, you can't really walk up with Grasp and hit him ever. If you Gangplank, you can. So Comet into these full range, especially low sustain ones, like Heimerdinger, like Jace, champs like that. Now, you always go the same runes in this one. This one's a lot easier than the Grasp page. Mana Flow, Transcendent, Scorch. There's no reason to swap any of these out. And for the secondary, same as before, Cashback and Approach. I wouldn't go Cookies into a range top matchup. Yes, they have poke, but they're not volatile. Cookies are for volatile matchups. Getting that tight all in from both of you being low HP. That's not really going to happen too much versus range top laners. Not saying it's bad. Cookies, extra sustain's always going to be felt. But in range top laners, you play a little bit slower early game. So, and just, play around your cooldowns, poke them out from range. So I'll just go Cashback, Approach, Velocity every time here. And then for the runes, you can go double adaptive. Some silence still like attack speed. Me personally as well, for being able to last hit under tower well. But double adaptive does make a little bit more sense for the trade pattern. So it is a little bit better for the matchup. And then you can go flight or scaling. Probably going to go scaling HP in this matchup. I'm a flight HP addict, but scaling it would be a little bit better, I would say. Because most range tops, again, kind of tying back to what we talked about with cookies, you're not going to be making it super volatile, fighting them to the death level 3. You mainly just poke them out and use that as the, extra poke advantage against them. And then for our final rune page, we have Phase Rush. So this one is very good into matchups that want to stick onto you. Matchups like Olaf, matchups like Darius, really, really good because it's really hard to get them off you. If you get pulled in by a Darius and he pops Ghost and you don't have you don't have Phase Rush, very hard to get away. Olaf, if he hits a Q and runs at you, guess what? You're not going to be able to slow him with E or with Q when he pops that ulti. Phase Rush pretty much mandatory in that one. So big fan of this rune into those types of matchups. You can also take it into Gwen as well. That's optional. Grasp is also fine. Personal preference in that situation. Keep in mind with Gwen, you can just go Swifties with Grasp and you're going to be fine. Olaf and Darius, I would recommend that Phase Rush. Now, in this tree, same as the Comet one, you don't change anything. You go Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch. No reason to swap any of these out. And then for the secondary runes, you still want Approach Velocity. I'd still go Cashback. Even though those are, volatile matchups, they are kind of heavy trading. You're not going to fight an Olaf or a Darius to the death early game. Cookie's not as tasty, especially after the nerf. So I'd still just go Cashback in these ones anyway. But if you're a bloodthirsty player like I am, you can take Cookies instead of Cashback. That's perfectly fine. And then attack speed, you go attack speed here for sure. Adaptive and flight HP. These champions are very strong early game. These Olafs, these Dariuses, so I would recommend flight over scaling in these ones. Moving on to our item builds. Now, there are quite a few silent builds running around at the moment, so I did have to really make sure to cut the fat. So sorry, boss, there's not going to be any lethality found here. Not quite as good as his other damage builds, but starting off with the starting item. So of course, you're a tank. D-Shield is going to be your go-to 9 times out of 10, probably even more than that. But D-Blade is sneakily good in matchups like Irelia, where you want to be staunching her in the early game. But unless you're a silent main, just go to D-Shield every time. Always going to be good. Now, for your first buy, usually it's going to be either Bramble Vest or Balmy Cinder. Of course, if you verse like Tryndamere Graves or something, you could go into Warden's Mail, or if you verse like AP top jungle, you could go Spectre's Cow, perfectly fine, but typically we're going to be going Bramble and Barmies. That's going to be your default most of the time. San doesn't really like small buys, so if you find yourself often basing for Cloth Armor refill or Ruby refill, you're probably playing the lanes wrong. That's not San's style. He really likes to get these kind of component buys on his first swoop. Now for boots, Tabbies, Mercs are going to be your go-to, but Swifty boots do feel quite good, especially into matchups like Nasus or Gwen or Olaf, who are very, very slow reliant in the way that they threaten you. Swifties can be quite good, or into just a hyper-mobile comp where you don't really feel the need for Tabbies or Mercs, but of course Tabbies into auto-attacking based AD champs, so if you verse Set Vi or something like that, just go Tabbies, and Merc treads if they have stupid amounts of CC, so if they have Lissandra and Mumu, actually that's too easy of an example. Maybe you don't really have much CC in the top jungle, but they have Hui, Leona, Ashe, I guess that's also an easy example, but you know the drill. Merc treads if you need that tenacity. Now for the first item, Hollow Radiance is the best upgrade to Barmies. The amount of power this item item gives over Sunfire is a little bit unfair. It's a much stronger item than Sunfire Cape. But of course, Sunfire Cape gives armor, Hollow gives MR. So if you verse AD top jungle, you're gonna go Sunfire Cape anyway. The exception to that is if Healing Cut's very valuable, you can actually just go the full Thorn Mail. Some Silent mains like that, chilling on Barmies and going full Thorn Mail. So in a matchup, if they had Aatrox top and their jungler had some healing as well, Thorn Mail can be quite good. It's pretty rare though. Normally you just go with the full Sunfire or the full Hollow Radiance and sit on Bramble. But something you can do, just because your top laner is AD, your top matchup, doesn't mean you have to go Sunfire. You can go early Barmies and Bramble Vest, maybe even Tabbies, but then the lane's going to be about done after that. You know, they'll be around 10 to 11 minutes if you got those three components. So then you can just upgrade to Hollow Radiance anyway. So for example, let's say I'm up against Renekton top, but they have AP jungle mid. Really don't want to buy this shitty Sunfire again. I want Hollow Radiance, so I'm just going to chill on Bramble Tabbies, Barmies, and then get Hollow Radiance later on. Very, very good to do it that way. So only go Sunfire if you need the armor, if the armor is juicy. If not, you can just go full Hollow Radiance. Now for your second item, so your default is going to be either Titanic Hydra or Unending Despair. These are the two best second items by far. The Titanic Hydra gives you so much threat, and as a solo queue build, I would want you to go Titanic Hydra most of the time. It's going to give you more carry potential, stronger 1v1, stronger inside lane. Yes, you're going to be less tanky in a team fight, but especially if you're playing well and you're doing well in your matchup, just go Titanic Hydra, really, really solid. Unending Despair is good if you're behind, or if your team does enough damage. If you have a full damage comp, they're having a good game. Yes, even though it's more fun, you don't have to be that damage dealer with Titanic. You're Unending Despair. Even then, you could go Titanic and it'd be fine. That item's very tanky as well. So Titanic really synergizes with SION's kit. HP stacking, of course, does a lot of damage. It gives you so much burst as well. Really good wave clear. So just a really solid item all around. Unending Despair is great on Sion because you get so much HP already, and it gives split resistances, and the passive has a lot of synergy with Sion's kit as well. So these are your two best second items. So a standard build would usually, I mean, we'll go through standard builds at the end, but normally Hollow Radiance with a Bramble mixed in there sometimes, and then Titanic or Unending Despair. That's going to be your go-to. That's kind of your favorite two core on Sion. Moving on to your third item. So you can get the other one now. You can go Titanic third or Unending Despair third. Both really good. If you went Titanic second and you want more damage, then you go Overlord's Blood Mail. So I'm pretty sure even bosses said this. Can't remember when it is. I remember hearing it, but Sion's not really worth building lethality these days. It's better just to build the HP damage build. So that build is going to be the Titanic Hydra second after Hollow Radiance, the Overlord's Blood Mail, and then even a Sundered Sky as your fourth item. That's kind of the full damage Sion build now. And you're still going to have 5,000 HP, but you do a lot of damage. But just keep in mind, just because your HP bar is high doesn't mean it's as tanky as a tank build, of course. If you have full resist items like Unending Despair, Show, Frozen Heart, you are going to be way tankier. But we'll go through the items one by one. So you can, as your default, go Titanic's Despair or Despair Titanic as your 3 core. That's going to be good most of the time. Blood Mail if you need damage, Kanik Rukun if you need MR. So let's say they especially if they have percent HP AP champs. So like Gwen or like Brand with Leandries and Zyra and all those annoying champs we hate versing, you can just go a full MR item because if you're HP stacking versus percent HP magic damage, guess what? You're probably going to get one shot. So Kanik Rukun goes there. You don't really want to build that, but it's something you have to do if they have those types of champions. Randrons if they have multiple crit champs. So if you verse say like Quintop or Yone and they have like a Jinx or something, Rangers can be quite good. Very rare I build this third though, only if it's ridiculous like that. Most of the time I do like to go the damage items or even Unending Despair, give you a bit more carry potential while you're still unkillable. Hullbreaker can work, and if I was recommending Sion to below Emerald students especially, I'd want them to build Hullbreaker more than the high rank Sion players would do. Reason for that, winning the game through side lane is way easier in those brackets. If you get a lead below Emerald, you can probably just ignore whoever you're versing and break the tower in front of them, especially if you have Demolish and Hullbreaker. So really, really good for that full split push style. So Hullbreaker with, you know, Titanic Hydra second, Hullbreaker third can be quite good, especially in those below Emerald games. Thorn Mail, just upgrading the Bramble Vis if you want that extra healing cut. It's a cheap upgrade as well from Bramble, and it will give you your cash back straight away. So this can be quite good, especially later on, as if they have other healing champs in their team. And then Frozen Heart, auto attack based champs. If they have Tryndamere top, Vi jungle, I mean maybe like a Graves or Akshan mid, you know, champs that are very auto attack reliant. Frozen Heart goes a long way. The extra haste feels really good as well, and it's cheap, so you get to proc your cash back very easily. And to round off the build, Show the protein, like we talked about with Unending Despair. Split resist items are quite good on Sion, as you're spending a lot of gold on armor and MR, but you already get a bunch of HP from your kit anyway, so you're not spending too much gold on HP that you already have. So Show really good, especially Unending Despair. Show Titanic Hydra second, Despair third, Show fourth is great. This is what you build if you don't really need anything else. This is your standard to round off your build. Sundered Sky we talked about. This is your fourth damage item. Some Sions build it a bit earlier. here. I found that Blood Mail 3rd and Sun Sky 4th a little bit nicer, so definitely that's your go-to if you just want to keep building more damage, and you're still going to be relatively tanky as well, especially if they don't have any percent HP damage. Then Kainagruken, Frozen Heart, Thornmail, or Randuin's, exact same reasoning as before. And for your final damage item, you can go Shiralda's Grudge. You're probably, if you're building your 6th item and you've got the full HP damage build, you probably already have around 6,000 HP, so you could just build a tank item like Jaksho, like Despair. Keep in mind, just because you go damage build doesn't mean you have to go Shiralda's Grudge and 5 damage items. Sometimes you go Bloodmail 3rd, Jaksho 4th. Sometimes you go, Thornmail after, whatever it may be. You don't have to fully commit, but if you want more damage, if your teammates are just holding you back, or you just want a bit of armor pin, Shiralda's Grudge can be good there. And then Unending Despair is good later on as well. If you don't have Unending Despair by your 4th or your 5th item, you really want to be picking that up. Moving on to our full build examples here. So, standard build, you can see Radiant, Boots, it doesn't matter, Titanic Hydra, Despair, Jaksho, and then kind of upgrading the Bramble to Thornmail. But again, your 4th, 5th item always has to be a bit flexible. That might not be a Thornmail in a game where they have a bunch of AP champs. It might be a damage item if I need damage, but especially the first kind of 3, that is your most standard. Radiance, Titanic, Despair, that is going to be your bread and butter, your default build in most of the games that you play. But 4th and 5th item, you do have to be building it based on what you see on their team. Now, damage build example, you can see damage build, Swifty Boots value goes up a little bit more because you're a little bit squishier and you want to be able to reach people and actually get your damage onto them. So Swifty Boots, keep that in mind. It synergizes a bit more with the damage build. That doesn't mean you have to do it. Again, Tryndamere vibe, and you want to build damage for some reason, you can go Tabbies, it is fine. So you can see here, the last item being Shroud's Grudge. This one I'm not a big fan of, it's just an option. Let's say you were quite fed building the damage build, and they've got like Cassandra or something, like sure you can build it later on, but your job's not really to kill tanks as a tank. So Shroud's Grudge is not really that good. It's just the best damage item in the spot because everyone's level 18 with a bunch of armor. But again, I'd just rather you build Unending Despair or a Jaksho or something like that. And then for a full tank build, so this is in games where you already have enough damage, maybe you're not playing that well, because the thing about Titanic Hydra, it's very expensive. You can see 3,300 versus 2,800 of Unending Despair. So if you're behind, it can just be good to build full tank. So Sunfire or Radiance, doesn't matter. Despair, Jaksho, because again, you're probably going to be quite poor, or you just want to be a frontline. You even notice that Worlds players like Doran, they'll just build Jaksho really early, sometimes 1st or 2nd item, because it's just good to be tanky very quickly and not have a weakness in a certain resist. And then like Thornmail, Kainagruken, or Frozen Heart, or Randuin's, any of those tank items, really depends what you're playing against. So you can kind of see these builds. The first 3 items, I'm not going to say set in stone, but they are going to look like that most of the time. So if you want damage, it's going to be the Titanic Bloodmail. If you want standard, it's going to be Titanic Despair, and so on. And then your 4th and 5th item, you really have to base it, on the enemy team comp, how the game's going, and just kind of feel what you need. Don't overthink it. If you're taking a lot of magic damage, build MR. If you feel like you want to do a bit more damage, your team's holding you back, you have a Jhin on your team who just does nothing, you can build a bit more damage, stuff like that. Just keep in mind, it's pretty rare you want to go the full damage build if you're feeding. Again, don't tell boss that, please, but I've found in my experience, if you're very far behind, it's better to build these cheaper tank items. Now, there's one more build I want to touch on that I don't really recommend that often, but some of the high rank Sion players like, and that's just because in Korea especially, it is very good in lane, and that is the half AP build. So what you do is you take Comet most of the time, but as you can see from these examples, there's a Grasp and there's a Phase Rush one, so it's not tied to the room, it's mainly tied to the matchup. So you go 5 points in E, which makes the cooldown very low on E, so you have insane amounts of poke and still relatively good wave clear. I warn you, will feel the lack of damage from your Q when you do this, but the poke is amazing. So this is really good to matchups like Kayle or Aurora, something like that. These range tops that you really want to obliterate in lane. Emax with Comet and a bit of AP feels amazing. It's mainly, the AP build path is mainly just for lane, to be honest. When you're finished your lane, you don't want Leandries, you don't want Shirelias. I guess I'll quickly go through the build. So normally you build Faded Ashes and Bandle Glass Mirror. So Mirror into Faded Ashes. So then you have a good combination of Mana, Regen, AP, and Haste, and poke of course from the Faded Ashes. And then you upgrade that into Leandries and into Shirelias. So those are the 2 AP items that you build, and Shirelias is so cheap, so good synergy of catchback as well if you take it. And then after that, you just build tank, normally Unending Despair, because you still got good HP, you're still sound, but you need armor and MR pretty desperately at that point. So that's sort of the build. It's mainly for lane. You don't want to just build the Bandle Glass Mirror and the Faded Ashes and then build tank. You might as well commit, but the 5 points E, the pseudo AP items feels really good into like a Kayle. Actually versed this guy here, Crazy Driver, as Kayle recently, and it was brutal. He may have ran me over. He is a crazy driver, but you really feel the poke. It's really hard to play around. Silent Q, it's a pretty telegraphed spell. A Swifty Boots Kayle can play around that very easily, but a low cooldown, even Silent E at rank 1, pretty easy to play around, but 5 points E with CDR, because Silent doesn't normally build CDR early, so 5 points E CDR with early AP, it's really hard to play against. So it's really powerful for lane, really good for snowballing, even though you're going to be weaker in a team fight, you might not be as strong in side lane, it's really powerful for lane. It's sort of the full laning team. You can see them. Sometimes they do it into Volibear. Sometimes they do it into Cassante. It's not just into these squishies, but what I recommend is only into those sort of range shot, like maybe a Teemo or an Aurora, or especially a Kayle. You really want to shut down Kayle early. So you can kind of see in these matchups, it can be very, very good to do it because you can get such a lead in lane. It really increases your power. I do not recommend it into like a Cassante or a Renekton, these tanky beefcakes or, bruisers or tanks. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's just better to build normal. But in these matchups where these squishy matchups where you really want to get an early game lead, it feels very, very good playing around that in. You have to be quite good with your E accuracy, so I wouldn't do it if you're a new SION. You're like, sweet, AP build, say less, and just send it. Probably not going to be good. You have to be quite accurate with it. But if you hit an E, and then that allows you to hit a Q, and then you hit a second E, you're probably going to kill most of these squishies, so it is a very, very powerful tool. And because the cooldown's so low, it's not like they can dodge E and then go punish you, because you just get a second one up pretty soon. And you can see they normally go, Swifty boots, sometimes with this as well, and really helps them space you. So this is kind of the AP pure lane phase domination build. I'd only recommend it to squishies. Other than that, stay 12-3 main builds that we talked about before. Moving on to our summoner spells, and this one won't take too long as you are going to be taking TP and Flash in 99% of your games. SION is a tank, so you don't really run double combat summoner spells on him. However, there is a setup that a lot of SION 1 tricks like, and that is TP and Ignite. And I've tested it myself, and it does actually feel pretty good into volatile matchups like Irelia, or even Camille, where you can heavy trade up against them. Flash doesn't do a lot in those matchups, so it can feel very good. Even up against Irelia, you can run D-Blade and get really lost in the source. So it's definitely good. I'd only do it if you're extremely confident on SION. I'm talking 500 games plus. Only the true SION nerds do it. And after testing it, I definitely felt the benefits in these volatile matchups where they are forced to jump onto you in heavy trade, but it is risky and you can just go TP and Flash it against them and be fine anyway. But it's something you can do, especially if you want to really snowball in your lane. Moving on to the laning phase, and I wanted to start with a pretty difficult matchup playing up against a Gwen, one of the more common counter picks to SION. And you might be surprised to see I've got Mana Flow Band and Scorch here. I was just testing it. I do think approach velocity is a bit better, but this is definitely nice as well. So go for the Q start level 1. A lot of SIONs like W start, and it can be good at times, but I prefer Q start most of the time. And moving on to the laning phase, and I wanted to start with a pretty difficult matchup playing up against a Gwen, one of the more common counter picks to SION. And you might be surprised to see I've got Mana Flow Band and Scorch here. I was just testing it. I do think approach velocity is a bit better, but this is definitely nice as well. So go for the Q start level 1. A lot of SIONs like W start, and it can be good at times, but I prefer Q start most of the time. And a lot of the SION 1 tricks do it as well. The main reason, the cooldown is a lot shorter, so you can get multiple rotations of your Q off against them compared to just kind of that one W before you get level 2. So you can see I've already able to get 2 Qs onto it here, and it's a lot harder to play around the Q than the W. The W, when you see the shield, you can kind of space it out, so it's actually harder to hit the W damage than it is just to get multiple Qs onto it, as you've seen here. So you can see level 1, I'm trying to hit the wave as much as I can to keep my grasp stacked up. I don't want to tank her full Q, so I'm putting pressure onto her. You can see I'm trying to bait her to use Q, pretend to walk towards her, pretend to hit her or hit a minion, and click backwards. So you can see here, look at my mouse already. I'm pretending like I want to auto this minion or her, they're in the same area, and then I'm already pre-clicking backwards, anticipating her to Q me on this timer. You can even see I fake autoed the minion. I right-clicked it, then click backwards as well. Little trick there as well. Just cancel your auto take animation by moving, and you won't stand still to auto. You can see I swing my big axe in the air and click backwards. It might look like I react to that. I won't give myself that much credit. I was just anticipating the Q. Every Gwen with 4 stacks of Q wants to hit you when you go for a minion. So if you fake it out and click backwards, you can outplay it like that. And then you can see I'm not just sitting back only hitting Q. Get that grasp proc there as soon as her Q's on cooldown. So you see the formula, bait the Q when it's on cooldown, go up for my nice 72 damage grasp proc. And then here as well, I went for another auto. This was a bit hungry. I actually a little bit of regret this. The reason I went up is because my wave was coming in and she can't chase me in the wave. But I should have waited a little bit longer, to be honest. Waited for at least my next grass proc. But still going to be fine. So you can see here, just bashing her down. And the wave comes in so she can't chase me. And 1 extra Q as well. Even warding the bush so that the minions will help me out in my battle there. Now I've got to wait out the Conqueror. You can see I'm waiting for it to drop off. She's all glowing yellow, pretty obvious to play around. And now that it's down, I also have to respect the level 2 verse 1. But I'm still trying to bait her. You can see a little bit. I want her to waste her QE. So you can see I'm like clicking forward, clicking back. She's not going to use it, I'm pretty sure. But you can see the intention there. And then there she gave me some space to hit the minion. If she just stood here, I would have just sat here patiently and waited for the wave. So another Q, you can see extra 77 damage there. Scorch actually does feel quite nice, I'm not going to lie. But I do think it's limiting. It kind of feels nice, but approach velocity has a way higher skill ceiling. So we go here, W auto. The reason I stopped here, I wanted to block the wave, not the entire wave. I let the melees hit tower. I wanted to block the caster minion. So this one kind of moved forward, a little bit annoying, but two of them outside of tower range, perfectly fine. So the wave just sort of bunches up here, exactly where I want it to be. So you can see I can just Q him, and I'm releasing it early because I don't want her to dash away or W. So when you verse champions with ways to outplay, Gwen has two, which is a little bit annoying, but champs like Aatrox E, Nah E, you gotta anticipate that they're going to dash out of your Q. No one wants to stand there and get hit by it. So you can see I released the Q early, even though I could have charged it a little bit longer, because I'm anticipating her to dash away with E or block her with W. I actually thought it would be an E, to be honest, but same thing. So there, another grass proc, hitting the wave, level 3. Now EQ. So EQ, really a common combo on SION here. So there you can see, normally I'd go for the EQ, but she got level 3 as well. She had her E. So instead I just walked up, go over a little bash in the head with shield bash, and you can see the damage of W. So the thing you want to do about W is you actually want to use W in most cases, not every time, but more so for the damage compared to the shield. It's a weird spell like that. Most champs use the shield for the shield. SION, if you lose your shield, you can't pop the W, of course. So I really don't want that to happen. So here you can see our W from far away, and you can see my click here. I don't want to click directly onto him and let her break the W, but now I know it's going to come up in time before this auto. So you can see I'm pretty much spam hitting W. So I pop the W damage just before she hits me. Yes, that means I take more damage, but look at her hit. She's got destroyed. So W does a lot of damage there. And then she is away from my Q at the end there. So you can kind of see the mindset with W. You want to be using it from quite far away. I actually should have used it a little bit earlier, but doesn't matter. I was still able to get it off. And then just make sure they can't break the shield before you pop W. But of course, there's a skill to it. There's an art to it. You want to use the shield as well, which is why I'm willing to tank the Q, because the Q at this point won't do enough damage to break the shield. She'll need a Q auto. And that'll just come with experience on the champion. So you can see just bashing the wave, keeping the grasp up. There, I was just checking to see if she based. She was trying to, but I was able to stop her. And we will take a free kill any day of the week. So you can even see with this Q. So she was just basing here. I think I stopped her last second. But anyway, you can see the mindset with Q here. Auto Q. I just stopped it now because I didn't want to give her any chance to outplay it with flash or anything like that. And then I just based here. I also pushed this 1 minion out of the way before I based, just so the wave wouldn't block out as much. It's still going to be out of tower, but you can see because I pushed that 1 minion, the cannon minion reaches tower. Might have reached it anyway, but I'm going to give myself a little bit of credit there and say it wouldn't have. Base, TP back. Of course, I'm going to go Hollow Radiance, the best Sunfire item, and I'm going to go MR first up against Gwen. HP stacking, not really, what you want to do versus Gwen. Actually didn't take a tower shot there, it's fine, you can just use W, wave coming in, and now you can see I'm sort of stacking up my grasp first before I start to interact with her, and keeping my distance a bit here. So I'm going to go for a Q pretty soon. You can see just kind of waiting for the moment and back in the bush. So really good sight, really common but good silent to do. Utilize Fog of War. Your Q is very telegraphed, very easy to play around. If they can't see you, a lot harder. So you can see I just walk in, insta start stacking Q. Sure, she could have waited back here and waited it out, but it's kind of worth the risk there, and I got the farm anyway. So nice little Q trick there. Block the wave, don't let her hit tower. So even though it's only 2 minions, I can't fully freeze or anything. It's still nice to keep it here as long as possible. You can see that one I could have waited a bit longer, but you can see I'm waiting a long time to farm. And now my wave is here instead of kind of, crashing and bouncing back to here. So E into Q, really common. EW, you can kind of see when I hit the E, I know, okay, I've got the slow onto him, and I'm used to approach velocity. If you have approach, it's way easier to do this type of thing. So this is kind of the downside, even though mana flow scorch felt a little bit nicer 1 to 3. You really miss approach velocity later on, and this is kind of when SION gets really strong, so you do really want to have approach here. But anyway, same thing, hit the E, pop the W early. So you can see without approach, I actually couldn't reach her to get that W damage and even threw in my Q. But she came back in, so I went for the Q there. Q click backwards, you'd see short trading mindset. I've got Grasp, she's got Conqueror. I don't want my trade to go for too long here. Hit the E, you can see no approach velocity. It's actually sad to watch. It's kind of nice watching the 1 to 2 with Scorch, but yeah, you can see the default, the downside there. We crash the wave in, and now I'm going to be trying to poke under tower. Sounds pretty good at poking under tower, but you need to be good at the timing. You want to release your Q just as the tower shoots, ideally. So here I had to release it earlier because she dashed away. This time I reacted to it. You can kind of anticipate it as well. Here I was waiting for her to actually dash before I release Q. Kind of that dash animation and popped it there. But you can always use your W to block a tower shot. And you can see at this point, my W doesn't completely break, so I'm able to get the damage as well. Really, really nice. But I did see Lee Sin chuck a Q off the wall, so I do have to be a bit mindful of that. So another Q. As I said that, I'm pretty sure I wasn't mindful at all, but it's fine. I really wanted to beat this Gwen. You can see the pings. So there's a little bit of emotional gameplay here. I'm going to counter match up. I need resources, but nah. Graves is bottom. He can't come on this timer. It would have been good for me just to sort of chill back here, play it slow, but I really wanted this kill, even though it wasn't worth it in the end. Anyway, you can see here, the Lee Sin comes up. So I could try to kite out. I could have just flash ultied away. Next, we have an example of a range matchup playing up against a Ryze this game. And you might be very surprised to see me have Ignite and Flash. And I could pretend that I did it on purpose because I want to play aggressive. But really, I just played support the game before. Autofilled, so I've still got it on. But it's going to be fine. We'll just play our best. But of course, I would take TP in this matchup. So you can see level 1, I'm just chilling in this bush trying to cheese him. Hoping he'll come back through lane and hit him with Q. Of course, high rank Ryze, probably not going to fall for that. But it's something you can kind of do every game. And sometimes you do catch them off guard. Fully charged Q, really insane. You can kind of see already with Comet, Scorch, and Mana Flow, just walk up, tap him with the Q, click backwards, already off to a good start, and then back in the bush. So in this type of lane, you want to kind of play around your abilities quite well. So you can see I just queued back in the bush chill because you don't have second wind. You don't have second wind, so you do lose a lot of sustain. So you mainly want to be playing around your spells. So here, I think this was a misclick. I released Q on accident here. Yeah, you can kind of see I wanted to hold it down there, but doesn't really matter. Q start, I'm a big fan of Q start compared to W start. W start's very passive. There you can see him. So he failed his spacing here. Even though I'm playing around my spells, I'm still watching him really intently. And this is what a lot of people struggle with against range champions. They're not going to play perfectly. They're not AI designed to ruin your day in top lane. They are going to make spacing mistakes in here. I clicked forward, he clicked towards me. If he clicked backwards, I would have clicked backwards right now, but he failed a spacing mistake. So I just started bashing his head in with my axe and got a nice Q as well. And then click backwards here. You can kind of see the mindset. We're kind of chilling here, deciding what spell I want to go second. Really depends what he does. But I'm just holding out to see if I need W or not. But he kind of made a mistake here. He was stopping for this minion. You can see. So I walked over here, went for the E start, and E with approach velocity allows me to get a nice Q. And if I aim my Q a little bit better, I would have got the knock up as well. So he did a good job faking me, but going down, I should have aimed it slightly to the left here. So then I could have got the knock up Q. That's fine. With your Q, the general rule, of course, if you get the knock-up, you want to get it, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. It's better to guarantee that it hits than be greedy and they step out of it. So here you can see I released it kind of now, just as he got the edge there. It's not worth the risk of missing that spell. So chill a little bit. Again, EQ. So you can kind of see the formula. I hit him with an EQ. Sneak in an auto attack here, back in the bush. Wait for the next EQ. And with the extra mana for a mana flow band, it really makes this a lot nicer. E into W into Q. So this is where if you hit the E, you pop your W because you want to have your W come up. Because me hitting that E makes me know I'm going to hit a Q onto him here. Because he's slowed from the E and I've approached velocity, I know he's going to get knocked up and he just EQ'd me. So he doesn't have the damage to break my shield right away. So I already popped my W. So I know I want to get the W damage on after this knock-up. So I walk up here, and he flashes, right? If I got the auto W, and then the ignite, I guess, here, you want to die, be close to dying. But you see the mindset. If I miss my E, I won't use my W. Too much mana to be wasting like that. So again, we're chilling. If you're wondering about triple tonic, just testing it. If you ever see something weird that I didn't talk about in like the rune section, I was just testing everything to really make sure, you know, was good or not. And then here we go for the kill. So I know he has no flash, hit the E, pop the W. So you can see I'm kind of clicking away here initially because I don't want to let him break my W. I really need this W damage, but now I know, okay, it's up in one and get the knock up, boom, W, auto, and the fadeaway ignite. Maybe ignite flash is the tick, but nah, if I didn't have the ignite here, I wouldn't have gone for the flash. I would have just slow pushed this wave and dove him. Would have been level 4, would have been perfectly fine. One shot this wave, base, I went boots and now magic. I wouldn't normally build tier 1 boots here, but I don't have TP, so I wanted to get back to lane faster. And now same thing as well. You can see the E. I went for just normal Qmax build. I didn't really feel like going for like, you know, the AP build this game. It wouldn't be bad in this matchup, especially with AD jungler, but I personally prefer just doing normal Qmax with Comet. I just feel it's way stronger in early fights and stuff like that. But the laning is very, very powerful with Emax. I will give you that. So we're just sort of chilling, letting the wave come back in. I don't want to give him waves under tower and let him farm for free. So I'm playing kind of chill here. I don't want to use a Q that hits the wave and him at the same time. I want to draw him out, But there we hit the E, we walk on out here, and we get a nice Q as well. So he had phase rush, not phase rush there, a bit of movement speed there to dodge it, so we cut back. We're chilling yet again, go for the E, hit him again, so we're going to get the Q as well. You can see how much of a game changer approach velocity is compared to the previous matchup without it. It does feel very painful. So he went for a base, so I just went and one-shot the wave. So this was good, because he based at a bad time. I just went and one-shot the wave here, but he saw me playing like this. So here you have two options. I can either base on my freeze, which would be very good, don't get me wrong, if I trimmed the wave a little bit here and based. But because I saw it crash like this, I know 3 minions is not going to be a perma-freeze. He's just going to lose a wave, which again is good, but I want to do the best play, not the good play. So here, I pull up here and make him decide. You have to cancel your recall, or you're going to lose this entire wave to tower, and I'm going to proxy the next one most likely, and stuff like that. So I really wanted to make him decide to stay here, and that's exactly what he did. He didn't want to lose all this farm under tower. So I just put pressure on him to stay, because he's in such a shit position. And again, one-shotting this wave, I really don't want you to base. Now, this is a really important sound combo you're going to see here, the ER. So he's just going to die straight away. But the ER just essentially allows your ulti to hit pretty much no matter what. Maybe if they have a dash or something, they can dodge. But if you hit the E, they're slowed. It's really easy to hit the R. So you can kind of see I was mentally ready for that. If my E hits, I'm ulting. If my E misses, I'm not ulting. So ER right now, boom. Fat Q as well. So you want to chain CC the Q off the ulti so that they don't have a chance to dodge it. He didn't have flash, so he would have died anyway. But you can kind of see he's still stunned. But I can release my Q right now to knock him up. So it's undodgeable CC. The ERQ, really good. You can't hold the Q too long. You can see his stun's almost wearing off. So I had to release it there. Oh, he didn't have to. He didn't have flash, but just as an example. It's a nice clean kill there. So I'd say you can see the matchup's pretty much over at this point. Not a lot he can do. But so I'm playing more aggressive now. You can see I changed my pattern. 1 to 2 I was a bit, not passive of course, but playing around my cooldowns. But now I'm just walking out beating his head in. Because I have a lead, you know, I can play a lot more aggressive. And my jungler is on my side as well. So it's really easy and kind of the lane ended at this point. And finally, we have the Rek'Sai matchup. So not just a popular matchup at Worlds, very popular in Korean solo queue as well. There's quite a few of these Rek'Sai players. Now, it's really important for me to get priority and try to bash this Rek'Sai down as much as possible with not just my Q, but my grass procs as well. You can see getting the Qs and then going up here for the grass procs. Even though Rek'Sai has a lot of sustain, if I get constant grasp and Q procs onto him, I can really start to chew through that. So go for the level 2 advantage there to get that shield bash grass proc onto him and then just bashing this wave. So when you see a situation like this, a bunch of low HP minions, it's very tempting for them to go and farm them. Of course, no one wants to give up 3 minions. So you can actually see I started my Q already. I'm making the Rek'Sai make a choice. Walk away, I'll release the Q early, you'll take a little bit of damage, or come farm and get shit on. So there I got a pretty fat Q. Probably could have been a bit bigger. I was a little bit worried of her walking it out. So like we said, better safe than sorry with the Q. The way she was walking made me feel like she might have just clicked away there, but she went for the minions at the end, so could have held it a bit longer. So good little mind game by this Rek'Sai player here, but it's fine. So something you'll notice I did there, I didn't pay off, is I walked into the bush to try to stop her from autoing me and losing this W, but her auto still went through. Might have a ward in here or something. You can kind of see the mindset. I don't want my shield to break, so I want to be able to get that W active damage onto her. So bashing the wave down, you can see walking up, and then starting my Q on this minion. Yet again, you can see I'm starting my Q animation on a timer. Q is very easy to react to, so if you do it on a timer, whether you make them make a choice. So I'm starting here, because once this tower shoots at a minion, there's going to be 2 1 HP minions here, so it's very tempting, very incentivized for her to go for it. Now she popped W, so this is where Q timing comes into play. Now it may look like I'm just doing a fully charged Q, because I am, but the main reason why I'm letting it go for so long, well, the timing I'm trying to hit here, is you want to release Q just as the tower shoots a minion, because then the tower shot's on cooldown, and you don't have to tank one. So you can see I'm sort of waiting for it, boom, just as it shoots now, and that's kind of a bad example, because I just fully charged Q, but as I'm queuing, I'm watching the tower trying to sync up, it just sort of so happened that I got a fully charged Q onto it. But sometimes I'll release Q, let's say now, because the tower will have just shot, and I don't want to take a tower shot by staying that little bit of extra time there. But they're just lined up very, very nicely. So just bashing the wave, keeping up my grasp, you can see, trying to pull the wave out a little bit, and then going for the W grasp proc onto her, cutting backwards EQ, and nice start Q here, and I'm able to finish off the kill. Nice grasp proc there, completely one-shot her. So let's quickly go back because she just did randomly die from half HP, but Sion does a lot of damage. So W proc click backwards, E click backwards. The reason I'm clicking backwards, I'm kiting her into my wave, and I know I've got a range advantage with my E and my Q, so I don't need to just stand there and tank her in her wave. And then you can actually see my wave was bashing her down the whole time. That's why she died. She took so much minion aggro. But if I didn't kite her back there, then she wouldn't have died. She felt confident to take a trade here and heal off her W, but because I kited back to the wave and knocked her up in that wave, she tanked more damage than she expected, and I was able to pick up a nice clean solo kill there. So base, Bramble Vest come back, she has sustain, and she's AD. Of course, I'm going to go Bramble here. Just TP in right away. So there you can see I have to release my Q early again, and I'm trying to kite away so I can get my W, but of course she breaks it. She doesn't want to take that damage for free. Go and get my vision down, and now it's, well, 2 low HP minions. Let me go on you, go for the E, and then here I just go for the Q, expecting her to go for the minion. You can see I started my Q before I even saw her. It's all anticipation. She wants this minion. Top laners don't want to give creeps. We don't like to. I miss the Q anyway, so it ruins my cool example, but you can guys see the mindset there. I got a little bit greedy for the knock up there. So sort of another good example, actually. We'll go back to my criminal Q. This is why being better safe than sorry is better. I should release it right now. I greeted for the knock up here. Better to be safe than sorry and guarantee the damage. So you'll see the way it works against Rek'Sai is she cancels your auto attack, which is very annoying. So there I just walk up, get myself cancelled, and now I can full combo. So I E auto back into the bush, and now I pop my W. So why did I W so late? Why did I let myself take damage? I want to use my W more for the damage here than for the shield. If I W'd now, she could break it, so I'm waiting until I get a bit of space now so that I can QW. So cancel her dash and walk up, get that W pop as well. You can just see how high the damage is from SION W early game. 137. You really want to be trying to make sure you don't just pop W during your fight and losing your shield. That's not going to give you much value from the spell. Sometimes you do that, and the time you do it is when it's not going to be a good trade. Maybe someone jumps on you level 4 versus 3 or something. You just want to absorb the damage and get away. When you're in a favorable position like this, you want to be mainly just using W for the damage there. We're playing quite slowly here. Again, this cannon minion, I'm going to be guarding it. So here I'm pre-planning my level 6. I want to be using ER onto you as soon as I get my ulti. So I'm sort of playing it slow here. Boom, W, ER. She did break my W there, a little bit annoying. So maybe I could have kited back here a bit more, you know, created myself some more space to utilize W. But to go for the ER here. Flashes out, so I flash away. I don't want to get knocked up on the tower and die. But you can kind of see the mindset. Always looking to use ER whenever I can. And try to do it just as I take 6 to catch her off guard. So another Q, go up, get the grass proc, get the E, just bash him down, and then call up my jungler for a nice easy dive from 1 HP. So you can kind of see the mindset from this matchup the entire time was I want to make it volatile. I want to get priority, I want to constantly trade onto it with Q, with grass procs, and I was able to really chew through that sustain. If you play too passive, she's just going to out-sustain you. Right, one more thing I want to show, it's not really laning related, I guess it is spreading that lead around the map here. So right now, the top crab is up, grubs are up at 30. I'm sort of expecting the enemy jungler to be top. I see Kha'Zix there, so I'm ready to go. Pop my ulti when I see the Rakan W. Like I said, only commit if it looks good. If Rakan missed W, I would not ulti. I waited for it to hit. Then I popped that ulti. The reason I moved back to my camera first is to make sure Rek'Sai wasn't blocking me, you know, getting in front of my character to stop me. So here I can pop the ulti, and here he flashes away. So I just keep it going. I had my eye on Echo as well. So I'm able to get a nice little flank onto mid too. You can kind of see the mindset on SION. Gain a lead through your powerful laning phase and spread that lead around the map. Really, really impactful way to play this champion. Don't only play for lane. Don't only play for roaming. You want to have a good balance of both. Utilize your strong laning phase to gain your lead and use that lead to attack their jungle mid, sometimes their bottom as well. Next up, we're going to be going through the mid game macro on SION, and I have a really good example here of a game where I got quite fed individually from doing well on my lane, but most of my teammates were struggling. Jungle's doing okay, but mid getting ran into the dirt. Bot lane, you can see they're struggling as well. So really important that I make good decisions while my champ is really OP. Don't get me wrong, late game sounds still good at team fighting, you're still a tank, but I'd say the later the game goes on as a tank champion, you get a bit more team reliant because you're not quite as tanky when mid 80 carry champs all have 3, 4, 5 items. That 1 to 2 item spike when you're pretty much unkillable is when you do your best work, as you're going to see in this game here. So one thing as well, I'm already ahead I wouldn't recommend doing this very often, but I choose to give my jungler the solo gold from tower here. The reason why is I'm already strong. I want someone else on my team to be strong. As a tank, ideally you have at least one fed teammate to play with. So here I sort of spoon fed him a bunch of gold from the tower and instantly TPing. You do not want to go back to top, play greedy on a tank champ. You want to spread that lead around the map. So here, if I didn't have TP, I'd be looking to walk through bottom, ulti onto them. But because I have it, nice clean TP flank, trying to bail my bot lane out of the situation. You'd see I'm also communicating on my way, because my bot lane wanted to base them. So I had to really make sure they stayed in the area at least, as maybe as human shields or to help me in my flank here. Human shields, of course. You can see just instantly goes in and dies. But right mindset here. TP flank. Go on the Caitlyn here. EQ, stop my Q just before the Sion ulti hits me. That's something you have to play around as well in Sion. Releasing your Q before you hit by CC. Exactly what we did there. And nice ulti W pop onto Caitlyn. You can see I W'd from far away as well. I popped the W early so that I can get the W pop damage. You can see I've already used W. Mainly using it for damage, not for shielding. Very common on Sion. Get the RW for the kill. And then just walking forward as I hit because I know I'm going to get stunned soon. Get a Q onto the onto the Brom here. So playing it quite slow, waiting for my Silas to count. Good little flank from Fizz. Go for the EQ. But he flashes out. So hit the E onto... Not flashes out, sorry, jumps away. EQ. And then just going onto this... Whatever the champ's called, Kiana here. So playing it. So you can see I'm trying to block everything for the Silas. Stop here and charge the Q to stop them from following up so easily. So I should have released this a little bit earlier and I should have aimed it a bit better. It's too easy for them to avoid them. So definitely still honing my Sion Q accuracy. So playing quite slow, you can see trying to block everything. Pop the Q onto the Nilly here. Block the Q. Walking. You see I'm mainly playing to peel, not to kill. Sometimes you play for the kill, but on tanks, mainly you play to make space and allow your carry champion or your damage dealer to do their job here. So I'm just going on killing the Brom here, trying to get the Nidalee to stop her, block the spear. You can kind of see the mindset here. And even though I could chase this Nidalee down and kill him, I swap onto the Kiana here, trying to save the Silas. Unfortunately, he dies anyway. You can see the mindset, flash EQ for the kill there. Break the tower. Break the next wave. You can see I went Demolish, felt very confident in this matchup here. Actually, I think that's Rakan's Demolish. Never mind. Taking too much credit. Okay, Dragon up next. So here, I don't want to go top straight away. Dragon's up in 30. So I just come here, eat a camp on my way while they're killing the Vlad, and then looking for a kill onto their mid here. So Sion, you pretty much want to fight everything you can, again, early while you're strong, while you're unkillable. So here I see some action top lane. So I start popping my ulti, and I'm pretty sure Caitlyn was in the river, you can see. I saw her fogging up through the pink, and there's action, so she's probably going to be walking towards that action. I doubt she's going to go do crab or something. I mean, even then I can still get her. So here I chose to pop ulti and cut off their escape, or reach the Caitlyn as she's going here. So driving up, I thought she'd be kind of up here cutting up with her team, but she was hugging this wall for some reason, so I just went onto the team instead and follow up my Silas there. You can kind of see the mindset as soon as my lane was done, even sometimes before your lane is done. I've just been super proactive, staring at the map, looking for opportunities. If I was looking for this play here, let's just say they got double killed, play didn't look so good, then I would go bottom. But because I knew I could carry the fight there, or, you know, help with the fight, I popped ulti and joined in. So yeah, Vladimir, I think he stopped my base or something, so I had to, you know, couldn't let that slide. So I went onto him and just killed the next wave and eventually killed the Vlad here. So nothing special, but you can see, if you do well on lane on Sion, no champ can really handle you inside that well. Of course, late game Gwen, late game Darius, you're not going to do too well, but yeah. Okay, so here we can see I've got ulti, so I'm foggy mid out of base. If I see a good play, I'm going to ulti. You don't want to take every single ulti mid that you can, but you want to be looking. You want to constantly be looking and take the play if it looks good. So there I see, okay, it's not looking good. Let me go back to the top. If Caitlyn was like playing aggressive, shooting mid tower, I'd of course go for it. So here, just killing the Vlad, just quickly take him out back, and now push the wave here. So here, this is where I could play for top tier 2, or I could play for this fight here. Of course, you want to default to team fighting on Sion. You do have side laning options, but I'm pretty sure we can win this fight, because I'm just so incredibly strong here, and Silas is strong as well. So I TP in, we got on the Brom straight away. He cancels my, I've released Q early, but he ultis my Q. Kite back, and then you can see here, pop the ulti, boom, straight onto Caitlyn. Nice Braum player there, letting her tank the bullet. But you can kind of see the mindset. I could have broke top tier 2 there, sacrificed my team, but on Sion, I'm not saying you play for your team the whole game, but if there is good looking opportunities. You saw that example where I TP'd bottom, it looked good. The Caitlyn and stuff were playing aggressive bottom, You can even see for this fight, taking the tower for them. When I TP bottom, it looked good. When I walked mid hunting to ulti Caitlyn, it didn't look good, so I didn't use ulti. I went to top on that timer. So you're constantly looking for proactive opportunities to get good ultis off, to get good TPs off, but you're only committing if it looks good. And yes, that is the hard skill to learn. Knowing what play looks good or what play doesn't look good is definitely what you're going to have to practice. But it's just something you have to learn if you want to be good at tanks and, of course, SION. So here you can see Artican's up next. So again, I could have gone top, but I have no TP. I have no ulti, so I don't want an Artican fight to happen when I'm not in the area as a strong 2.5 item tank. So instead I come here, but I'm not just walking through sweeping wards, I'm playing the SION's identity. Sounds really, really good at abusing Fog of War here. You can kind of see I walked around here, sneaking in the fog, and start my Q before I even see her pop out, just sort of anticipating. And this is the SION skill that takes, quite a lot of time. I'm anticipating her to go on this wave here, because very likely she's going to farm these creeps. So I start my Q early, anticipating her to walk up. I get the fully charged Q here, the fully charged Q full 2-second CC, and then auto Hydra E, pop the W, and then auto Q, get the nice solo kill there, even though Rakan flash for no reason. So the counter was really fit at this point, by the way. You can see rocking up to objectives early. I didn't just walk through here and cheese this bush, the obvious bush everyone knows about, cheesing from these lane bushes here. You got to be quite creative on this champion. But if you can be creative and you find these opportunities, really, really impactful here. Now for this fight, you can see him just sort of making space, not letting him approach, not letting him get to my team. You do not want to be the backline on this champ. You want to stop anyone from walking through you. So I just got on this Vladimir here. Then I saw Caitlyn mid and I realized, okay, they're not contesting. Let me just kill this guy. So W into R. Boom, just miss it. Unlucky. Auto Q. Nice clean kill there. Watch one more sequence. Dragon up next. No TP, no ulti. I'll start moving, commit if I'm needed. TNC sort of fogging, flanking from here. Pop my sweeper to know if I'm spotted on a ward or not, because I was thinking about queuing over the wall, but they weren't going this way, so I just left the bush straight away. But you see the mindset popping sweeper as I come in, because I wanted a situation where Caitlyn was like walking through here, and I could queue her, but she didn't give it to me. Not that dumb. So just queuing the Braum here, just playing kind of with my team, just playing front to back. So even though I could just like full sender him, I can't ulti through people, so I'm just going to queue him for now. You can see the Hydra as well, and just playing it a bit slow. Playing it a bit slow here, holding this area, and now pop ulti. Good flash by Caitlyn, so I did have to flash out. This is kind of what I mean. It's like, you don't want to play too fast. Here, I didn't anticipate the Caitlyn flash. I got a bit greedy here, so that was good by them. They flash dodge, I just fight for a little bit, and then I think eventually I just flashed out. So we're fine. You can kind of see the mindset throughout this game. I think we'll just do one more sequence. Yeah, just TP in, because they're fighting, TP flank. This looks good. I'm going to TP. Why does this look good? Even though the teammate, they're overextending. They're full diving. There's a lot of half HP members. I've got a good TP ward. You can kind of see the mindset. So, main takeaway for the mid game on SION, you want to be utilizing your lead in lane to look for proactive plays. Ultis bottom, TP flanks mid, TP flanks bottom. Always be looking for proactive plays around the map, but only commit if they look good. So any play that you make that doesn't go well, you need to go back, not just watch how you played it, but watch 30 seconds before you pressed your R button, before you pressed your TP button, and see if that play actually looked good to begin with. You don't want to walk around fighting everything mindlessly on SION. You only want fights that look good, that look like they have a high chance of working out. Moving on to team fighting and skirmishing, and there are two very important reference points that if you can follow on this champion will make you a very consistent team fighter. The first one, and this is kind of half a mid-game point, but getting to the objective early. Getting there early, getting full vision control and denying their vision makes your champion significantly more useful, because SION's main abilities, Q and ulti, are very easy to play around, they're very telegraphed, but if you have full vision and they don't, it makes it very difficult for them. So this is a really good example because we're behind. My bot lane ran it down as usual, and and they have 3 dragons as well. So it's really important that we win this upcoming Baron fight with Dragon Soul spawning in 40 seconds for the enemy team. So you can see we get him, we get full control, and they're already starting off this fight, not really knowing where everyone is. Their support getting chunked trying to ward. So we're on the offensive here. They're on the back foot. Now the second most important point is the goal in the fight itself. Your goal is to make as much space as possible without really overcommitting. Now, what I mean by making spaces, you could imagine as a tank, as a frontline, you are ahead of your team, I would hope. So the more you walk towards them, the more your team can kind of follow you up and do their damage. If you run away, when you see champs running towards you, your team has to run away as well. Your backline, it's very hard for them to play. So when you have this control and they're walking in, you need to walk forwards and not just let them push you out and deny the vision. You have to be willing to tank a bit of damage so that you can make space for your team and allow them to do their job. And also, one more bonus thing, do not waste your abilities on useless targets. Here, this is a Blitzcrank getting engaged on. I'm not going to ulti him. I'm not going to Q him. I don't care. He's useless. I'm going to go on their useful champions here. So here I pop the ulti. And even though they're mobile, I can't really hit them, they double dash away. So now Kha'Zix no E, Echo no E, it's a lot easier, and they couldn't follow up the Blitzcrank, so it's really easy for my team to play this fight out, even though my Rakan kind of missed everything. Now, the making space here, you can see without overcommitting. So a lot of players would fall into the trap here of, I want to kill this Kai'Sa because I love dopamine, I want to beat her head in with Titanic Hydra. But realistically, if it's a good Kai'Sa player, she's not going to die here. She's got E, ulti, she might still have flash, so this is not a realistic kill. If I click onto her, I'm going to get kited, take a bunch of free damage, and maybe even die here. So instead, you can see I just pop the W, bit of damage, click backwards here, and I'm just making space. I'm not allowing their backline to do their job here. So I quickly dodge the Echo ulti, and then come back in, E onto Kai'Sa, click backwards, 2-man Q. Now the Rek'Sai is doing what 99% of top laners do. I want to kill the AD carry or die trying. But me, I'm just sort of wasting their time, being annoying, making space, not allowing them to do anything. Because if they walk this way to try hit my Israel, to try hit my team, then I'm just going to run straight at them and beat them up. So they sort of have to tether me and respect the threat that I have on them. And this is very annoying to play against. If I just ran at them, they're just going to hit me and kite around. It's very easy. But this is going to make them, not only do I not risk dying and I don't take unnecessary damage, it's a lot easier, more likely for them to make mistakes. Because any level 30 player, if you run at them, they probably know how to right click you and kite backwards. But with me playing like this, sort of weaving in and out, playing around my cooldowns, being annoying, it's very awkward and uncomfortable for her. And you can see eventually she gets a bit sick of it and tries to hit something and then just ends up getting killed here. And then at the end, just go on this guy, boom, boom, boom. So even though I didn't get much dopamine from this fight, I wanted to really one-shot somebody. I didn't really get to do that. I was still able to create as much space as possible and not really allow Echo, Kha'Zix, or Kai'Sa to do their job in this fight, while my team just peacefully killed the enemy top laner who wasn't playing to make space. He was playing to just kill AD carry without, in one shot and survive. Now, keep in mind, he is playing Rek'Sai. It's a little bit different for him, but you can see on SION, because your spells are relatively easy to play around, it's different. If I have my ulti on a mobile champ like an Ashe or something, of course we're going to kill them, but mobile champs like this make team fighting on SION harder, so you need to learn how to tether, how to make space, so you sort of threaten them as much as possible without dying. You are going to take a little bit of damage, because if you take none, that means you're playing too passive, but if you kite around, play around your spell cooldowns like this, it makes it very, very awkward and uncomfortable for them to play the fight, and I was able to have a really high impact, even though I didn't literally, kill everyone. I still felt like I had a really big performance in that fight. So definitely the main two things, get to the objective early. So you can see if we go back, I went straight to Baron, got full vision control. And then with that vision control, when they walk in, I'm able to walk at them, not allow them to kill our wards, not allow them to push us back, and then just making as much space as possible so my backline can do their job, which is just pretty much hit whoever comes at them. So if their enemy frontline makes a mistake that I'm not making here, and my team just kills them, and I don't die, of course you can see it's a really big net benefit for the team fight. Now to wrap up this guide, I'm going to be going through a full game review of a recent solo queue game that I played, and breaking down exactly what I was thinking throughout the entire game. Now in this matchup up against Jax, I decided to test out W start. This was still during the testing phase. As of right now, I prefer Q start in pretty much every single matchup as the cooldown is way lower, but you got to give everything a good try there. So walk in with the wave level 1, ward the bush, really good to do in matchups so you don't get priority when they have a strong level 1 like a Riven or a Darius or a Jax. I don't want to walk up at the wave, let him get behind me and get a big extended trade onto me. So W start and whack him. And now you can kind of see my mindset here was to fake him out here. I wanted to pretend to auto attack him and bait him to use a Z. So first auto him, click backwards, and sort of bait out that E. And now we can walk up and bash the way freely. When Jax doesn't have his E available, he is significantly weaker. So you can see I'm sort of hunting for my grasp proc onto him, but my grasp dropped off. So back to bashing the wave, stack up that grasp once again. If you go for this minion, boom, auto W. and then tried to cut him out here. So this is a little bit of a mistake on my end from the spacing point of view. I tried to space him out and keep my W shield going. I shouldn't have stopped and hit this minion. That was a big mistake. Better for me to click away and then come back in and get that W pop onto him. But again, it's not a big deal. We're going to be fine. So another grass proc, click backwards, one extra auto as well. And now I feel, okay, he's going to get level 2 very soon. Let me respect that. And matchups you don't get pro, respect the 2. And matchups you do, abuse your level 2, of course. That still applies to SION as well. So now I don't want to let this wave crash. I want to keep the wave here painful. SION's really good at crashing in waves because you have AoE CC on the wave. You've got a shield. And you've got poke on them as well if they try to stop you. So you can kind of see here, I use my W to tank the wave. Again, let the melee minions tank the tower, but not the rest of the wave. So you're not going to perma-freeze it. You just want to keep it here so that you can hit them with your spell. Especially with SION, freezing is quite good because a big downside of your Q is it gets cancelled by CC. But if you're using your Q under the tower, how's this guy going to stun me without taking tower shots? So blocking the wave is very, very crucial on this champion. So Q there, you can see, versus champs with dashes like Jax, Fiora, you're anticipating them to Q and dodge your Q. No one's going to stand there, farm 2 minutes, give you a full 2-second Q. Very, very unlikely. So I release the Q now, anticipating his Q so that I still get the damage onto him there. Auto click backwards. I was testing Scorch Mana Flow this game as well. I gave that a lot of testing because it does feel very good. But the longer I play this champion, the more I just know you need approach velocity. So if you touch this minion, I'm going to go. So E, pop the Q early, auto, click backwards here. So he's trying to bring the wave out, probably for a gank or something. So walk backwards here. So this is where I'm going to use my W for the shield. Because if I don't, I'm going to take too much damage. And I can't really get the damage onto him. So if you visualize this trade where I don't use my shield, he's going to jump on me, beat my head off, and then stun me and run away. Then I essentially don't get to use my W in this trade. So I'm W now for the shield. So W is not only for the shield and not only for damage. The perfect world is to use it. I mean, as I kill this guy, we'll finish this trade here. So he goes on to me. I'm kiting backwards. Auto E. And then get the stack Q. Release it early just in case he flashed it. And then walk up and finish the kill. Anyway, as I was saying about the W, the perfect world is that you get a W that they do a little bit of damage to it. So you get like half the shield value. Or, I mean, perfect world, 99% of the shield value. And then you pop it for the damage. But most of the time, I would say, you're using it to damage them. Or using it to block damage. So it's important to know, you know, when to use each one. In that situation, it's better just to block his Berserk. Because he could have ended the trade in CC if this guy watched my Jax guide. So base and TP back. We go Barmies here. So you can kind of see this is another trick you can do, especially with approach velocity. For those of you who don't know, approach velocity, even when running away, you get a bit of movement speed because it doesn't instantly disappear. You get movement speed going towards them, but when you turn around, you still have it for a little bit. So this is where approach velocity would have been really nice. E click backwards, so you can kind of see the mindset. E click backwards and then stack the Q, and I W'd early so I can get the W pop as well. So this is pretty much a perfect trade where I E click backwards here. Now I know I'm out of his range, so I get the W up early, get the stack Q, and then one extra auto and W pop, and one extra fadeaway auto for the grasp as well. Here I wanted him to use his E, that's why I keep bashing him. When you verse Jax players that hold the E for a long time, that's when you kind of flip it away. It's kind of like the bell curve thing where a bad Jax will E straight away, a good Jax will hold their E, and then, you know, the great Jaxes, they don't hold it too long. Like this guy's just holding it too much, give me too many free auto attacks out. To get the E onto him, go for the Q, when he goes away. See, no approach velocity is so annoying, it's so hard to get, you know, easy Qs. To level 5 here, hit the wave, stack up the grasp, go for the Q, just pop it in case he jumps away. I was a bit worried he'd Q to a minion and dodge it, if you watch my Jax guide, but luckily we are chilling. Pop the W, E backwards. You can kind of see the mindset here as well. Click backwards, E W. Now my W would have got the pop onto him if he didn't flash here. You can kind of see I could have gone for a flash auto W to kill him, but he knows that, so he flashes and breaks my shield here, and he stuns me for his jungler, and then there I got killed from a gank. So I was a little bit tilted, I'm not going to lie, but I should have just flashed, to be honest. If I flashed the Silas chain, we're chilling. My mindset was just like kill this guy and then flash, or dodge it with movement, but good little chain by Silas there. Should have flashed, but it's fine. From the wave, come back, one-shot the wave. And now I want to trade onto him. So there I wanted to go for an E when he goes for the minion. And then Q him, of course, the EQ combo. But he just jumped on my hit straight away. So I ended up missing my E. So I just used W for a bit of the shield there. Then auto Q. So you'll see I'm holding my Q until he walks through here. Because I want to increase my chance of hitting it. I think I missed it anyway, but you can kind of see the mindset. So carding out here. So that was a big mistake by my end. I gave him a long trade, bad E and bad Q usage. You see how brutal it can be if you miss your abilities versus a champ that can long trade against you. Definitely don't recommend it. Wave coming in. So here I know he's going to be going for a plate or for a dive. So get the E onto him. Try to fish for the EQ. No approach velocity is so brutal, man. What was I thinking? I mean, I had to test it. But yeah, watching it back without approach, it feels like a different champion. One important thing about SION is buffering your ulti through CC. So here you can see I get the Q damage and I start my ulti now because I want to be stunned while I'm in my ulti because you can't get CC'd while ulti, and you can see I come out of ulti and I'm not stunned. So I'm able to kill him. Of course, he pretty much killed himself here. You can kind of see the mindset. Buffer ulti through that CC and I was able to pick up a kill because of that. Clear the wave, base, come back, and now I'm just going to be able to destroy him. So this guy started sort of pressuring side really hard. I'll name it that way. And this is a cool example because a lot of people struggle, especially on tanks, when they verse split pushes. Even when you win lane and there's suicide split pushing, everyone's versus the Trundles, the Jaxes, the Fioras that just run it down perma split push. That's exactly what this Jax did. He was split pushing the entire game. So get a kill there. Base, always looking for a play. Looking mid, looking bottom. You can see here, I initially started pathing bottom and panned my camera here, but then I saw, okay, Philios based, there's no, I thought he based, there's no play, let me go mid instead. And boom, Corky W's insta ulti. You see the mindset, it's never I'm ulting bottom or I'm ulting mid. It's start moving, move the camera, commit if it looks good. That's the most important part. People really try to make it too black and white, like I'm roaming here, I'm not roaming, I'm farming here, I'm not farming. It's all about looking for these plays and committing if they look good. If this guy didn't W, I'll just go back to top. But he W'd in, so of course I'm going to fully commit here. But if you're not looking for these plays, you're not going to get it. And if you're not looking to make sure they're good before you go, sometimes you're going to waste your ulti, make bad plays, and sacrifice farm for no reason. So nice clean kill there, and then back to top. Let's beat this guy up. Even this trade here, this will be my last time complaining about it. Even this trade here without a approach velocity, really annoying. Okay, one more kill onto him. I'll skip the random kills on Jax. Doesn't matter. He is too far behind to play the game. We've all been the Jax in this situation though. We cut him some slack. So spacing out there with the W, fully charged Q, auto, kite backwards here. Really didn't want to ulti this guy. I think I'd do in the end anyway, just to guarantee the kill. IQE, and just kill him with my items here. Actually, looks like he got away. Never mind. Kind of, again, the queue's all about anticipating where they're going to go. So start queuing here. Nice clean kill, back to top. Okay, let's get started on the mid game. Okay, jungle gap, it's fine. Okay, dragon up in a minute. So I want to be participating in that dragon. This is a cool example too. You see my team's not doing that well. The kill score is 15-15, but I've got 5 of the kills as a tank. So this is a cool example. So look at my camera panning. If this looks good, I'm going to go. If they dive my Veigar, I'm going to TP. So here, you can see initially I was going to flank, but I realized they're just going to fully commit to the TP. See, I actually panned my camera to that ward. But then I see now they're fully committing to the dive. I don't need to TP flank them here. I can just go here and maybe even save my Veigar. Didn't end up saving him, but you see the mindset there. To charge up Q, completely with it, with the E, with the Q. That's brutal. Only the teleport button was good. All the other buttons were a failure. But we got a couple kills and a 1k shutdown regardless. And then here, you can see going on this guy too. Flash EQ. If he flashed this and lived, that's fine. SION, your flash is not as valuable as carry champ's flash. You take flash to threaten them like this, but if you trade flash for like a Syndra, a Hwei, or in this case a Philios or Jinx, it's definitely worth it. So don't be afraid to trade flashes like that. I mean, he didn't have flash, so I just killed him, but that's sort of the mindset I had. So base, here I went for Unending Despair. The main reason why is Titanic Hydra, second item versus Jax. A little bit awkward to use because you can block auto attacks. It's still good, and I think I win at third item. Yeah, I've got Sword Ruby. But Unending Despair is quite good here because they have 3 melees that are going to be going in. And also, yeah, Titanic Hydra into Jax, not as good into other champs. So ulti down, kill this guy. Get the kill, push it down, play for dragon. So you can see sort of cheesing bushes, trying to hope people come through and queue them. I've also swapped to sweeper, pretty much a mandatory on SION, as you are a really good bush cheesing champ. If you don't have sweeper, you're trolling. But here I had to base because that guy's split pushing top, and this is what I mean by the suicide split pushing. So my mistake here, if we go back to it, after killing this guy, I should have based right now. I wanted to fight this dragon because I'm strong. I'm not in the right mindset here. I need to answer top. This dragon's just a dragon. I cannot give top tier 3. I should have based way earlier. That was too optimistic of a stay. And I didn't really expect him to die for the tower like he did here. So I adapted my play after this. Atakan in 2 minutes. Push in top. Base. Get the Tiamat. You can see trying to get into this bush here so I can cue him from the bush. You can see that sneaky Scion mindset. So this is a cool, this is what I mean by adapting my play. I really want a TP here, to be honest, and kill them all. But I cannot give top inhib for this random no objective fight. If Atakan was up, I probably would have, let's say if Atakan was up, I would have proxied this way. I would have killed this wave, walked around here, proxied the next wave, and then TP'd Atakan. Because I need to buy myself time to actually fight that Atakan. If I don't proxy, I can't. And if Atakan's up, they're probably going to be down here. They won't gank me proxying. But in this situation, there's no Atakan. So I just don't TP because I don't want to give Jax all this stuff for a random fight. Maybe I TP in and save someone and get a kill. But I don't want to do that for no objective there. This is just sort of kiting him around. Pop the ulti onto him, cut into the bush. And get him to jump away. And now I TP in. So first I recall, then I TP flank. Again, look at the camera panning. Does this look good? Yes, they're overextended. I have a what? If I didn't have this TP flank, I wouldn't actually TP in here because they wouldn't be out of position. It's a good TP flank. It looks like I wasn't really needed anyway, but you know, you can easily hindsight and say, oh, I wasn't needed here. Can you really say that back here? Not really, right? So you always look at before the TP, not after. We cannot be at results-based analyzing. Okay. Atakan up in 20. I have no TP. Let me quickly push out top all the way. Here, this guy had red buff and 2 items, so I actually had to ult away from him. Kind of embarrassing that he's so far behind he could do that, but it's fine. He spent all his gold on side laning items. But now I have 3 items, I'm just going to shit on him. So walk up, fat Q, auto Hydra, kite it back with W. You see, I don't want to lose the W pop, so I'm kiting backwards here. I don't want to let him break my W. So much damage, especially at this point. You can see him. Alright, 230 is not that much, but still worth the kite out. And just beat this guy up. Pretty close, actually. Alright, got the kill. Atakan next, push in top. Jax is dead. I bought myself a timer to go to this Atakan here. So hiding in this bush, trying to get a cheese. Flank onto the Corki. Lead with E. You can see I hold my Q. I don't EQ. The reason why, this guy has a dash. I don't want to EQ and get it dodged by dash. So I just E, auto Hydra. And then he flashes away and uses dash. Now I can Q. You can kind of see the mindset versus dash champions. Be very patient. So base now. The faster you base, the better. I've already carried the fight. I came here. We got full vision. I killed the Corki. Now I can answer top. So I come here. Start beating up this Jax. Get off my tower, you little punk. I actually think he gets this one. So annoying, actually. So he gets the tower, but we get the kill. So he's actually doing pretty good. He's doing the best thing he can with his deficit. So my whole team dies here. So this is where people get quite annoyed. I have to answer the Jax, but my team dies here. But because I'm playing around the Atakan, you notice 18 minutes, I didn't TP in. Atakan, I was there, I carried the fight. And then after Atakan, I'm not at this fight. Because just some random bullshit fight in the river I don't care about. So as long as your team is dying around timers like this, your team's going to get caught out every game. As long as they die at these timers that aren't major objectives, it's not a big problem here. But I didn't really expect the Jax to TP and break mid there. Really good by him. Baron up in 50. Okay, every single thing I do here is for the Baron. So here I go, I skip back on accident. Here, I go top. I don't want to give Jax an opportunity to end the game. So I just go onto him here, put a bit of pressure onto him. I don't think you can kill me, mate, so I'm going to be fine. Try to get the spell shield off him. Kiana went in. Zero FTP top for some reason. But we're fine. So just cutting out. My Kiana made a mistake, Zeref made a mistake, so he's got to play around this. I really like this VOD actually, a lot of mistakes from the teammates here, a couple of mistakes from me as well, giving the nice little team fight there. Giving the Jax the top tier 3 was the biggest problem, because then he can just kill the inhib in front of me, because there's no tower to shoot him. That's sort of the issue here. So flash, cut out, I think I die here. So main takeaway from this one, as soon as I killed the Silas, I should have just, actually, no. My takeaway, as soon as Kiana entered and Zeref TP'd, I should have left. I didn't actually see Zeref TP top in the game. So in hindsight, my awareness of teammates was a bit low here. If I saw Zeref did a troll TP, I should have just backed away, let 2 people die, and then we've tried to 3v5 the Baron. That would have been fine. So they actually got Baron off that situation. And yeah, we can blame our team, because mid and jungle entered. But if I didn't die, I'm pretty sure I can stop them doing Baron. So it's my bad for not being aware of that bad Zeref TP. Dragon up in a minute. So push in top all the way. Because Dragon's up next. Jax can't push in bottom very easily. Because my team will be there. We'll just kill him. So I fix top now. Buy myself a timer to go to Dragon. So you can see initially I was pathing Dragon. Why don't I go? This guy died. So I'm not needed there. And I have TP. So here you can see I'm using the little fog of war here. Hide around the corner. Trying to sneak onto the Jax. Start the Q here. And fully charge 2-second Q. E, click backwards. Wait out his E there. Get the W pop and able to get a nice clean kill here. All from the start of that nice Q. R buffer through the E. Q, dead. And then TP in right away. So CP might not have been needed, but you can kind of see the mindset. Quickly deal with the Jax. And then TP in, of course, after that cannon minion. TP in here. Because this is Dragon Soul as well. When it's Dragon Soul, you don't want to take any chances. So actually, I take it back. I don't care if I don't need a TP here. This is Dragon Soul. I'm TPing in next game I play, next 100 games I play. If this is Dragon Soul, I'm doing that TP. So we come in, EQ the Pantheon. You can kind of see when you can be a bit greedier. So with the Q here, I can just keep charging it, and boom. Time for ages. Nice clean kill. Trying to cheese the Corki as well. Get his Valkyrie. So now he's got no W. Much easier to kill. Leona goes in. EQ. Boom. Fat charge Q there. And then trying to go on this Aphelios here. Just beating his head in. So strong at this point. You see the blood mail. The damage gets really high. What do I have in this fight? Around 350, 360 AD. Really, really strong combination of items there. Break the tower, and you can just kind of see now I'm just so strong, they can't really do anything about it. Buffer the E. Actually didn't buffer the E. Anyway, got the kill into Silas, break the tower, base, time to end the game. But first, we have to stop this Jax. The only problem is if I went mid here, and Jax broke bot in it, we'd be in a really tough position. So I go on to him here. I spent Thorn Mail to upgrade that last item, Auto Hydra, get this guy away, fix the wave, and now I'm looking for the fight. So you can see a lot of fixing side. There's no major objective. Let's say right now my team died without me. We won't lose Baron. Not the end of the world. Hopefully we won't lose the Nexus, but you can kind of see you can't do everything. So go in, siege mid, and then yeah, game's over at this point. I'm just so strong. My team's caught up at this point. You know, they're not too far behind. Watch this last fight though. Nice clean kill. You can see this fight, I'm not trying to kill anyone. I'm trying to keep Zeref and Veigar alive, making space for them. So you can see the way I'm walking is like putting pressure on Silas, making it so he just can't full combo them. So he has to full combo me instead. Going on Pantheon next turn. All about making space. Sounds one of the best tops of just making space. It's kind of hard to dive and just kill the backline. So you can see I'm just allowing my backline to do their job in this game. So main takeaways for this one is you can see the balance there. When there's a major objective like an Artican, like a Baron, I was there no matter what. When there's that kind of weird downtime, when there's no major objective, like the 18 minutes and after the Artican, stuff like that, I was willing to let my team fight die without me, because you can't keep the wave fixed the entire game and fight every single fight, but you can sort of keep the wave fixed and fight the major objectives. So the best example I want to quickly end on was the Artican one, which is back at 18 minutes. So try not to blind you there. Right now, my team took a fight without me. That sucks. That's annoying. In an ideal world, they'll wait. But because there's no objective, them potentially dying on that timer is not a big deal. So I fix the wave. Come to fix the wave here. Come to Artican. Where was it? Here. Come to Artican. Fight it. And now I go back and fix the wave again. So you kind of see the mindset around the major objectives. You need to be there for the major objective fight. Everything in between, you can be more chilling. And when it's a minor objective, like a dragon. So when we gave the top tier 3, probably my biggest mistake of the game, to be honest, When it's a minor objective like this dragon, you shouldn't be so pressed, like, I must fight this, I must be here. If they're pressuring you and making you answer, sometimes you have to do it. And alright team, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed the guide. I know I haven't been making as many of them recently on the YouTube, but I've been completely pumping them out on the Top Lane Academy, so link will be in the description if you want to check them out, including a full in-depth Scion guide with even more detail in it than this one. So if you really want to push your Scion or maybe some other champions to the next level, I'll see you there.